Hi all, welcome to the new session of H Smart. Hope you all are doing well. Today we are going to discuss teachings of Mahavira. The last class we discussed about the preachings of Mahavira, and this class we are going to discuss about the teachings of Mahavira. Jainism did not accept the authority of the Vedas, and Jainism preaches 5 vows. So, what is the meaning of the word vow? A solemn promise or a holy promise. So, Jainism did not accept the authority of the Vedas. Already, we discussed about the Vedic period, caste system, and what are the causes behind for the rise of Buddhism and the Jainism. And in that, the main teachings of the Mahavira, it's mentioned here. Jainism preaches 5 vows. The meaning of the vows means a solemn promise or a holy oath. And what are the 5 vows? First one is ahimsa. Second one is asteya. Third one is satya. Fourth one is abharigha. And fifth one is brahmacharya. Ahimsa, asteya, satya, abharigraha, and brahmacharya. These are the 5 vows of Jainism. So let us see more about these 5 vows. What is ahimsa? Ahimsa means non-violence. Non-violence is the cornerstone of Jainism. And asteya, what is asteya? It's not stealing, should not steal anything. And satya means not telling a lie. That means be truthful. Abharigriha means not possessing property. And brahmacharya means practicing chastity. Ahimsa, non-violence. Non-violence is the cornerstone of Jainism, and they believed in non-violence. Asteya means not stealing, should not steal anything without anybody's permission, should not take anything. Okay, so they very strongly they believed in this philosophy. And Satya, not telling a lie, should not tell a lie and be truthful always. And Abharigraha, not possessing property. Not possessing property, if you observe the Jains and the Buddhist monks, even for their daily food also they are asking the people, or they won't possess any properties in their life. That is known as what abharigraha. And the fifth vow is brahmacharya, practicing chastity. That means they are away from all the worldly life. That's the meaning of a brahmacharya. And in the varnashrama dharmas also already we discussed about what is a brahmacharya or the brahmacharya ashrama. And according to the Jain philosophy or the Jain tradition, Jain householders has to take this 5 vows. Okay, it's a compulsory, or they should try to follow this 5 vows. And non-injury to living beings is important in Jain philosophy. That means what? Non-violence. Non-injury to living beings is important in Jain philosophy. According to Mahavira, violence is of 3 kinds. Okay, so it's a very important knowledge for each and everyone. According to Mahavira, violence is of 3 kinds. The first one is physical violence. What is physical violence? Like killing, causing injury or pain to someone, any living being. That is known as what? Physical violence. According to Mahavira, violence is of 3 kinds. The first one is physical violence. Physical violence means a killing or causing injury or pain. And the second violence is violence in words or harsh language. See here, what a very good philosophy. Violence in words or harsh language, that also hurt people. Okay, it should not hurt physically, but it should hurt mentally. So violence in word or harsh language, when we are using this harsh language or harsh words, it's we are killing the people, or it's not physically, mentally their mental status will change when we are quarreling, or when we are fighting with someone, or when we are using such type of hard words. So Mahavira said violence is of three kinds. The first one is physical violence, and second one is violence in words or harsh language, and the third violence is mental violence. What is this mental violence? Mental violence like ill will towards others. Say here, what is the meaning of ill will towards others? That means I don't like the people. For example, if your classmate is scoring a very good mark, you are feeling something bad in your mind. Okay, that means what? Ill will towards others. If he is getting a very good score, it's fine. Well, good. How many of us can think like that? So, but Mahavira's philosophy, or in Jain philosophy, they are saying it's also a violence. What type of violence? It's a mental violence. That means like ill will towards others. We should not do that. Okay, we should be always others well wishers. And Jains believed in the sanctity of life, or the right of every living being to live. It's a very impressive philosophy. Jains believed in the sanctity of life, or the right of every being to live. Every being to live and let others to live. That is the philosophy they emphasized here. That means every living being, so it's from the minute to macro organisms in this world is having the right to live. That is what, as per my knowledge, the Jain tradition or those people, they won't consume the products, the root vegetables or all those things, because the presence of the microorganisms in the soil will hurt when we people are taking this root vegetables or digging the ground. Okay, that means it's a cornerstone of their philosophy. It is a cornerstone of a Jain tradition. Okay, if there is a right of each and every living being to live in this world, so that they don't want to hurt anyone, and they don't want to use this harsh words. They don't want to make any ill will towards others. According to Mahavira, he said these three kinds of violence are there, and we have to be very vigilant when we are using our words. And along with this five woes, one more thing is there in the Jain philosophy or main teachings of Mahavira, that is nine truth. Okay, it's a very important question for your examination also. Nine truth. Okay, besides the five woes, Jains are expected to have knowledge of nine truths. So see here, besides the five woes, each and every household should follow, try to follow the five woes, but the Jains are expected to have knowledge of nine truths. Okay, and knowledge of nine truth is essential, and only renunciation is the shortest way to salvation. Second point is very important. Knowledge of a nine truth is essential, and only renunciation is the shortest way to salvation. If you want to understand this point, you must know about what is renunciation and what is salvation. See here, what is renunciation? It's a formal rejection of something. It's a formal rejection of something. That means we are formally rejecting something. Maybe it's our desires or any worldly things, whatever. Okay, so we are formally we are rejecting. That is known as what? Renunciation. Free from all the desires. That is the highest thinking stage. Okay, free from all the desires. No desires in the mind. That means formally rejected something, or something from our life. Okay, and here it is mentioned, the knowledge of the nine truth is essential, and only renunciation is the shortest way to salvation. That means salvation is the deliverance from sin, deliverance from wrongdoing, or the deliverance. That means it's the purest holy life or the divine life. So if we need salvation in our life, what we want to do? Renunciation. Renunciation means what? Is a formal rejection of something. Free from all the desires. When we free from all the desires, what can we attain? We can attain salvation, or we can be away from the sin. So this is the corner or the core part of the nine truth, or why they want to follow nine truth, or why they want to have a knowledge of a nine truths, because it's a way to salvation. It's a way to renunciation. That is what they are giving more stress on this nine truth. So let us see what are these nine truths. Here the nine truths. Okay, so you feel it's a little difficult or high philosophical thinking, but just you connect this with your daily life, you can easily understand what is the meaning of all these words. Okay, so here the nine truths. The first one is jiva. Jiva means what? Living things. It's a truth, living or life. It's a truth, it's a reality. And ajiva, ajiva means what? Non-living things. Okay, so if we observe our community, we can see living things and non-living things. But living things and non-living, so these two are the part of our community. We cannot think a society without non-living things. Okay, so living things are closely related to non-living things also. Jiva, ajiva is a non-living thing. And punya, result of good deeds. Okay, result of good deeds, that means if you have do something, so here, result, a good deed brighten a dark world. One saying is there: a good deed brighten a dark world. Besides doing, being someone a good deed, or besides helping someone doing a good deed, and what we are getting from that, your own heart and your mind feel very good. That is the result. When we are doing a good deed to others, what you are getting, that means you feel very good. I have done this good thing for that person, I feel very good, isn't it? Okay, so that is what the result of a good deed. That is what, it's a reality, it's a nine truth, or it's a truth, or it's a reality. Everybody in this world are facing this result of a good deed. And the good deeds opposite what? Bad deeds. That is what? Sin. That is the fourth part of the nine truth. Pap, sin. That means wrongdoings. And next one, the fifth one is what? Asharf. Asharf means what? Good deeds. Here the punya is mentioned what? Result of good deeds. That means whatever we are doing some good things for others, we are getting the result. For example, if you say, if you help someone, and whenever you need a help of, so that same he may be ready to do that help. That means the result of your previous good deed. And here it is mentioned what ashav means what? Your good deeds, your good deeds value in your life. That means the others help also waiting for you if you do good deeds in this world. And in both the Buddhism and Jainism, they believe in karma philosophy. Karma means what? The good deeds. What karma? What action, or what good or bad action? It depends your life. And next one is, sixth one is sanvar. Sanvar means hindrance in the way of karma. So this is a bit difficult to understand. What is this hindrance in the way of karma? So I told what is karma. Action, our deeds is known as what? A karma. So the hindrance in the way of karma. Hindrance means what? Obstacles. And these obstacles impede our practice and lead us forward unwholesome actions. That means the obstacles, for example, without any reason, one person tried to quarrel with you. You became very quiet for some time. After hearing this shouting and all, you started to react to that particular act. That means you are a very good person. You giving silence over there. After that, when you are hearing this voice or shouting or quarrel, that obstacle came, like a voice it came, or like shouting it came, that obstacles came. So you started to react to that particular incident. That means what? The hindrance in the way of your karma, obstacles. Like this, many obstacles we are facing in our life. If you observe our day-to-day life, we can see what different types of obstacles are there. we are actually we don't want to do such a type of things, but these obstacles or the situations lead us to do something wrong or something against of our philosophy. That is known as what the sanvar. And the seventh one is bandha. Bandha means bondage. Bandha means bondage, your relationship to your parents, to your mother, to your relatives, to your not only the relationship, and you have a bondage with your worldly things also, your physical things also. That means my mobile, my laptop, my car, my bag. It's a bondage, isn't it? If something happened, my pet, if something happened for your pet, what will happen? You feel very bad because you are keeping a very good bond with that pet. Okay, if something happened to your motorbike, what will happen? You feel bad, isn't it? You will take that to the workshop and repair it and will come back. Okay, and always your mind was worrying about that. That means what? You are having a bondage or a relation with that. That bondage is also a reality. And eighth one is nirjara. Nirjara means destruction of karmas. Destruction of karmas, uh, destruction of accumulated karma from the atma or soul. Destruction of accumulated karma. That means you accumulated some goodwill or good name, or you made a good behavior, or as a very good person, you made that character through your good deeds. Okay, and what will happen in this nirjara, destruction of karmas? That means a destruction of the accumulated karmas from the atma also. Sometime or you reacted to a particular incident or to a person or a particular matter, something like that. That is known as a Dharjara. And the next one or the last nine, the truth is what? Moksha or salvation. Moksha or salvation means what? Uniting with the God. That means your Atma and the Paramatma. That means your soul and Paramatma, the God, uniting. Salvation, renunciation. So, in last module, it has mentioned the renunciation. Why they want to follow this? Renunciation is the way to reach a salvation. And these nine truths is mentioned here. It's all reality, and we all are facing this in our day-to-day life. And it's mentioned by it's mentioned by Mahavira in a Jain tradition. And so this nine truths are very important. If we need to attain the salvation, we must be free from we must have an awareness about the living beings. Every living beings have the right to live, and non-living beings is also a part of our life and result of a good deeds. If you do something good, you will get it back. Okay, and power, sin, that means we should not do this sinful activities in our life. And ashak, that means good deeds, and our action or karma should be good. And hindrance in the way of karma, sanvar, bandha, bondage. When the people are detached from the bondage, then only they can attain the renunciation or the salvation. That is what mentioned in the nine truths in Jain philosophy. So let us see the recap of this topic, and you may feel it's a little difficult, or it's highest philosophical thingy. Nothing, just you understand this and connect with your daily life. You can easily clarify those points with our day-to-day life. And let us recap the topic. Jainism preaches five vows, and that five vows are ahimsa, Asteya, Satya, Aparigraha, and Brahmacharya. And each and every householders should observe this or follow this or try to follow this five O's. And according to Jain philosophy, the knowledge of a nine truth is essential. Why it is essential? Because that renunciation or this knowledge of a nine truth will help to attain the renunciation and the salvation. And these nine truths are Jiva, Ajiva, Punya, Pa, Ashar, Sanvar, Bandha, Nurjara, and Moksha. I'm not going to discuss detail here. In the previous module, I already discussed about that. So I'm not going to explain again here. So the nine truths, mention nine truths from the Jain philosophy. A question in your examination. You can write this, only these names, okay? Only this name and the five O's also. If I explain about it means what? You have to write more about this. Nine truths and the five O's also. So here are some expected questions from this particular module. Name the five O's prescribed for the Jains, okay? And with the reference to Jain religious philosophy, mention the truths to be followed for obtaining salvation. That means mention the truth means obtaining salvation. They have to follow the they should have the knowledge, not follow. They should have the knowledge of this nine truths. So that is what here the second question asked about that with a reference to the Jain religious philosophy, mention the truths to be followed for obtaining salvation. And if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you need a notification for the uploading videos, hit the bell icon. And if it's good for your friends, you please share this and subscribe it also and hit the like button. And thank you so much. And I hope so you understood this lesson very well. Once again, go through the video and you please try to understand. And if you want, you can do some more research in this and prepare very well for your examination. Thank you for watching. Thank you.